Hello guys, today I'm going to show you guys how to swipe the ABXY buttons on the Retroid Pocket Flip 2. This process is a little bit more complicated compared to the Retroid Pocket 5. But with a little bit more patience, we can get this done as well. As you can see here, I already have the PlayStation button on my Flip 2. In this video, I will replace those colored PlayStation button with a white version here. Also, the Retroid Pocket Flip 2 and Retroid Pocket 5 use the same ABXY buttons. So this means any buttons that works with Retroid Pocket 5 should fit with Flip 2. If you go to my Etsy store, so all the RP5 buttons will fit with Flip 2. To do this button swipe, you will need one small and one bigger Phillips head screwdriver. You will also need to use a triangle-shaped plastic pry. A plastic pry bar and a tweezer are recommended since they will make this process a lot easier. Okay, now let's get started. The first thing you need to do is make sure you turn off the device. Then we can remove the joysticks. They will come off very easily just by pulling straight up. Then the next thing you need to do is to remove the SD card. If you have one, just make sure it's removed. I don't have a SD card here, so of course I don't have to do anything here. Let's just move to the back of the device. So here we have 4 screws on the back of the device. Let's take out those 4 screws here. You will need a slightly bigger Phillips head screwdriver to take out those 4 screws here. Okay, once 4 screws have been taken out, now we need to remove the back plate. To do this, you will need to use the triangle plastic pry to stuff into the gap between the back plate and the front shell. The easiest spot I found is the area that is close to the shoulder buttons. You will need to pull the back plate and front shell by hand to make the gap big enough to sneak the plastic pry in. Once you get into the gap, then just follow the trim line. The back plate should be easily taken off. The hardest part of this section is to find a gap and make your plastic pry go in. Once you go around the trim line, then the back plate should be loose. Then we can just remove the back plate, there is no cable attached. Then we will need to remove the fan units. There are 4 screws holding down the fan units here. So just take out those 4 screws here. Just be careful, there are 2 cables are still attached with the fan units. Okay, once those 4 screws are taken out, now we can slowly lift the fan units from the left side. Just be careful here, we still have 2 cables attached on the right side. So as you can see, there are 2 cables here are still attached. When you flip the fan unit from the left side, you will have more space to disconnect those 2 cables from underneath. I can easily disconnect the white cable just by hand. If you still have problem to reach this connector, you can use tweezer, it will make life easier. Here I can easily disconnect the white one by hand, but the other one I have to use the tweezer. When you are disconnecting those cables, just make sure be patient and slowly take them out. Once both cables get disconnected, now the fan unit is removed. Okay, this is how the fan units look like. So we have these 2 small cables on the fan units. Just make sure you plug them back in when assemble everything together. The next thing we are going to remove is the heatsink. This is pretty straightforward. There are 4 screws holding down the heatsink. So just take out those 4 screws. There are 2 connectors on the left side here, so don't be freaking out, there is nothing plugged into these connectors here. Then we can just remove the heatsink. The next step we are going to do is disconnect the battery cable. All you need to do here is pull the little tab up. Okay, now the battery gets disconnected. For most electronics, we can disconnect the battery directly after removing the back plate, but it really takes some effort to get into the battery connector on this Flip 2. Okay, now we need to take out the battery. The battery was glued onto the shell from both ends. I recommend using a hairdryer to warm up the glue area first and make sure it doesn't overheat the battery. Then use a plastic pry tool to remove the battery from the shell. This is already my second time to remove the battery on this flip tool, so that's why I don't need to use a hairdryer to heat up the glue area. But you might need a hairdryer for this. It also really depends on the temperature where you're living. When you are prying the battery, make sure just be gentle and be patient. Okay, now we can just take out the battery. Okay, this is the flip tool battery. Now we can see the two glue tabs on the back side here. When removing the battery, just make sure be gentle and patient and don't damage the battery. Okay, now we need to remove this plastic shell from the left bottom corner here. There are 3 screws holding down this plate, so just take out those 3 screws here. Now we can gently lift up this plate. There is a cable still attached with this plate, so make sure you disconnect this cable first before taking out this plate completely. Okay, now we have this piece removed. So this basically is the speaker unit. Then we need to disconnect this ribbon cable here. Next, we will unlock this joystick cable connector, which is located under the joystick. So just make sure this connector is unlocked. Then we need to remove the 4 screws that are holding down the joystick unit. So just remove those 4 screws. You don't have to remove the 4 screws completely. The 2 on the top you can just leave there. Just make sure the 2 screws on top are loose. There are a very strong magnetic field on that area, so it's gonna be hard to put them back in if you remove them completely. Before you take out the joystick unit, we still have 1 cable attached on the right side, so make sure you unlock this tab first, and make sure the cable gets disconnected. Okay, now we can slowly take out the joystick unit. Okay, this is the right joystick unit. If it gets damaged, you can replace this whole unit. Then we need to take out this circuit board on the left side. There are 5 screws in total here, so let's take out all those 5 screws here. Okay, now we can remove this white piece first. Then we can remove this circuit board here. Okay, finally we see the ABXY buttons here. Okay, let's take them out. This is going how it looks like without the joystick and the buttons from the front. So as I said, I have replaced those buttons with the stock one. So that's why my buttons are just sitting on top of the rubber pad. This rubber pad here is the original rubber pad inside the flip tool. The actual buttons you removed from your flip tool will look like this one here. The buttons are actually glued onto the top of the rubber pad. Here you will need to use your fingernail to separate them. It's pretty easy to do, so just make sure to clean up the white glue residue off the rubber pad. To remove the residue, I found the best way to do this is just use your fingernail and try to remove the residue as much as possible. It doesn't have to be 100% removed, just make sure the big pieces are gone. By the way, the button I am working on right now is actually from Retroid Pocket 5. On my left side is the rubber pad from the flip tool. As you can see, the rubber pad on the left side, which is belong to the flip tool, which is lower compared to the RP5 rubber pad on the right side. This means the Retroid Pocket 5 and the Retroid Pocket Flip 2 have different rubber pad. Luckily, the button physical dimensions are exactly same. It's just the rubber pad is different. The glue residue on this one is already pretty good, so now we can put everything back together. So I'm going to install those white PlayStation buttons into my flip tool here. Now we just have to drop each button into each slot. After all the buttons are in, now we can put the rubber pad back. Then all you need to do is reverse the disassembling step and put everything back together. Here I'm not gonna guide you step by step for the assembling, but I will show you the process in 2 times speed as reference for you. If you have any problems or questions, please leave a comment below. I will try to answer as soon as possible.
Gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love and excel, yeah. Push and pull and repel any hate, go create what you want, feel compelled, yeah. And once you finally get a taste of the race, you'll never look back once you felt that.